From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Wednesday's edition of For the People on March the 29th, 2017. A little craziness on Capitol Hill. Some motorist decided to plow right through police, and shots were fired, and kind of a big mess there, but things are kind of getting back to normal since this morning. The car, right as we speak, is actually being towed. Chad Pergam is a producer for Fox News Channel. He was on the scene, and this is what he said earlier. Here he comes.
Well, the most we can tell here is that things on Capitol Hill, hearings, Senate session, House sessions, are continuing as normal. And that this was some sort of a traffic stop that went awry. Now, we don't have any indication yet as to why they were trying to stop the vehicle, whether or not this was erratic driving or there was a warrant or something like that. But what we have confirmed is that it was a female suspect. And when they refused to comply with the order, that they chased them down Capitol Hill, down Independence Avenue, past the Longworth and the Rayburn buildings here, and one officer discharged their weapon. Now, we don't know what led to that. When we had an incident where a suspect was killed several years ago, this was not the Miriam Carey incident, but we had a suspect after a short, high-speed chase down the wrong way, down Louisiana Avenue, where the suspect, in fact, drew a weapon on officers, and they shot and killed that suspect. But what happens sometimes if you are behaving pretty badly on Capitol Hill, and you demonstrate, in your behavior, where you come into the building and you say you have something on you, or, you're driving and you're not stopping, they're going to take this pretty seriously if you get up around the environs of Capitol Hill. That's what happened in the Miriam Carey situation in October 2013. She drove to the White House, hit a officer there, drove all the way to Capitol Hill. There was a chase around the Capitol for a few minutes, and anytime you do something like that, well, how do you think they're going to respond when they go to the two main points of American government, the White House and the Capitol? But this incident seems to be limited just to Capitol Hill, and it seems to be emanating from a traffic stop. What we need to find out, though, is what was the purpose of the traffic stop and what led officers, at least one officer, according to the sources I have, to discharge their service role.
All right, now the incident began about 9:30 Eastern Time, where police began chasing this vehicle, a lady. Her name hasn't obviously been identified, but at first near the Library of Congress, and ended up about half a mile away when the vehicle was stopped by a road barricade, and police fired the shots. And there are barricades that they can put up. There's some that come out of the road that can pop your tires and all sorts of things. But, given the Parliament building, in London, just with the climate that we live now, you just have to be so careful. And thank God for the Capitol Police, because they act very swiftly, and they have to, because, protecting a lot of people that come in and out of the Capitol. And so far, there has been no indication that this was a terrorist attack. It's just some motorist. We don't know if they're mentally disturbed, just had a bad day. We don't know. I mean, it's not a good thing to try to run, from a Capitol Police person or the FBI or anybody in that area. They tell you to stop. You don't run, and it makes you look extremely suspicious. And it looked like she was mowing down the police. So I would just guess that person was a little deranged and mentally unstable. I guess let's just say that. But who knows? Could have been intoxicated. Could have just had a bad day. We don't know. It just doesn't. Something smells on this one. Speaking of something that smells, Michael Moore The filmmaker, Michael Moore, he's back in the news. This guy, I don't know if he just does this just to put himself back in the media. I mean, is he not the ugliest human being? I mean, seriously, I'm sorry. There's ugly, and then, that doesn't even do homage. In my opinion, this guy's fugly. Wow. And just the stuff that comes out of his mouth, though, is even worse. Seriously. Forget about that. What he's saying right now is with, Trump easing Obama's energy regulations, that he has pulled the trigger, Donald Trump, on the extinction of human life. That's the headline. This is Moore's dramatic declaration. And this came in a tweet storm following Trump's order yesterday rolling back the regulations to curb carbon emissions. It's the end of the world as we know it. Yeah, it's the REM song. Michael Moore. You know how many fires? You know how much carbon, crap, and stuff was coming out of those dinosaurs billions of years ago? This planet has been around for billions of years. Well, you say, well, but we didn't have industrialized factories and stuff like that. You know what the methane gases that were coming out of those dinosaurs? Well, that's still an issue with all the animals and stuff like that on the planet. And scientists say that stuff, if you're gaseous, you may want to use some Gas X, but they say that stuff is pretty bad. You don't have the CFCs and stuff like that and the AC and the refrigerants and stuff like that they had in ACs. That's the killing stuff. And we've had climatologists on, we have scientists on, and it's just what exactly is depleting the ozone. The ozone hole actually has repaired itself. The hole used to be a lot bigger. Scientists don't exactly understand everything that compiles the Earth and the halo that's around the Earth. That's what they call it. Things like they still don't understand. They still study it, don't understand it. Forest fields and whatnot. And with the ozones, we should do a good job in trying to make sure that we don't litter, but we do. And China is probably the worst polluter out there. You think they're curbing their emissions? Heck no. Think they're stopping their factories? Heck no. I've always said it was always good business to clog up somebody else's country. Go to Mexico City. That's a good, for instance, if you ever go to Mexico City, you will see people during the day wearing air masks just to breathe because the air is so toxic. I mean, it stinks. It's really, really bad. There's parts of New York that are like that. Now, it used to be a lot worse back in the 80s, but, that's what Michael Moore says. Yesterday's date, he says, historians in the near future will mark yesterday being March 28th, 2017, as the day the extinction of human life on Earth began. Moore tweeted, adding the Environmental Protection Agency has been prevented from focusing on climate change, from focusing on it. Again, we're not the only one that's going through climate change. There's planets in our own universe that are going through changes. No kidding. Weather changes on other planets, getting hotter on other planets. It's not just us. It's there, too. And the Earth goes through cycles. And any intelligent scientist or meteorologist will tell you it's just like the El Nino effect. It's with us some years, and some years it's just not. Tree huggers. My goodness. Seriously, come on. Give me the extinction of the human race. For us to think that we're actually going to destroy the Earth. The dinosaurs didn't. Rest assured, we're not going to destroy the planet. Probably not the best stewards, but we're not going to destroy it. All right, this is a very, very sad story. This has to do with people who go out in the face of these horrific storms. Remember the movie Twister? Oh, man, that was a great movie. Love that. All-time classic. But that really does show you what people do. And people did get killed in that movie as well because they didn't listen. They do this because people want to know the severity of the storms and what they're capable of doing. And it's good because people a lot of times don't take these storms so seriously. So they have these storm chasers. They go out to report right there up close and personal, putting their lives, their very lives on the line. And they risk every single time to get killed. And they study these storms to try to understand them for better prevention so they can hopefully save more people, to let them know, hey, this thing's coming your way. Well, apparently, it wasn't the storm that killed these guys. It was motor vehicles. And it's very, very sad. Lieutenant Brian Witt of the Texas Department of Public Safety says that the crash involved a Jeep and a Chevrolet Suburban sports utility vehicle. And he's saying one person was in one vehicle and two in their other. So there's three people and two vehicles that passed away. And a lot of people are just very, very sad. Jeff Brostrowski, he says, the extremely bad news west of Spur, Texas. I'm at the scene of a triple fatality accident. Two are storm chasers. And the Weather Channel, they identified two of the deceased as Kelly Williamson and Randy Yanell, who were both contractors for the Weather Channel. And I think we have a little promo of them kind of hyping it up a little bit for, in their own words, of what they do for the Weather Channel and how they kind of feel about their mission.
You know, people can sit at home where it's safe, and we're out there getting the shot for them. You know, they can sit there and watch it on their TV screen, and we enjoy doing it.
It's really awesome, I got to say. I mean, I love weather. I love listening to it, but anybody in the Midwest, anybody in Oklahoma, anybody out in Texas, you know, these storms are just and the weather that was, they were out there looking at these twisters. The hail was softball size hail, or I mean huge stuff. But it wasn't the weather that killed them. We don't know if it was visibility. I mean, there was rain. But maybe they didn't see each other. Maybe they were in the hot pursuit of something. Who knows what happened? But it was a motor vehicle accident, and it does take way too many lives, unfortunately. But I don't think they would have guessed in a million years that wouldn't have been a storm. But it's just from running into each other, and that usually does it in, man. That sudden impact, that sudden jolt. It gets you. The human body can only withstand so much force, and you know, we don't know if they were wearing seatbelts. Hopefully they were, but sometimes even seatbelts, they don't do enough. Time for a live spot, and this has to do with a product that several weeks ago that we were propositioned actually by a company that said you have to take a look at this. It's the coolest thing that you probably have ever seen. And now look, I'm a gadget guy. I've got just about everything you could possibly have with electronics. And I love entertainment, love movies, love music. But sometimes it gets frustrating when you have like 10, 15 apps, and that just drives me absolutely crazy. You know, you got YouTube, and then you got Hulu, and you got Netflix and all that other stuff. Forget about all that stuff. Imagine just having one player, one thing that does it all. Because the internet is a big place out there. And let's face it, everything is streaming right now anyway. It's just finding the stuff. Well, that's where this player comes in. This player actually finds the stuff for you on the internet under movies, under TV shows. That's right, under, say, the weather. We're talking about the Weather Channel. It finds all of that stuff already, and you don't have a monthly subscription tied to it. Why? Well, they can do it that way because it's 123 Ready TV, and they've designed this media player for anybody that wanted to have easeability in finding all their classic movies, all the latest movies and their TV programs, everything they want with one player. Now, it works with all your Droid devices and your personal computer. Where can you get it? Thought you'd never ask. You can get it at forthepeopleshow.com. Take a look at it right now and purchase it right online for $19.99. One-time deal, bada bing, bada boom.